So good morning, everyone. I'd like to thank you for attending today's CTSI Open Research Office. Our presenter is Matt Skowronek. Matt's a Senior Healthcare Partnership Manager with TriNetX. He helps us learn about TriNetX and keeps us informed whenever the platform has new features. I meet with him regularly and he's incredibly helpful. So I'll let Matt tell you about TriNetX. If there's any questions throughout the session, feel free to bring them up. So thank you so much for joining us today, Matt, and I'll hand the session off to you.
Thanks, Alexis. And like Alexis said, I'm Matt Skowronek, one of the healthcare partnership managers with TriNetX that works with Buffalo. I also work with all of the other SUNY sites as well. So collaboration, things like that. I'd be the go-to guy for any of that. I'm going to do a quick PowerPoint, just a bit of background on TriNetX, and then I'm going to jump into the platform so you can actually see how the platform works. Just going to share here. All right, can everyone see the actual screen and not the presenter screen, just to make sure?
We see the presenter
screen right now.
All right, let's see if I can. All right, better? Cool. All right, so just a little bit on TriNetX as a whole, just a bit of background. So the graphic to the right is sort of how TriNetX is configured. We work with healthcare organizations, Buffalo being one of them, but we also work with pharma and CROs. So the TriNetX originally was created back in 2014, 2015, as a way to help pharma and CROs deliver clinical trial opportunities to their healthcare organizations, to sort of streamline that process. It's developed over the years, but from the beginning, we've sort of prided ourselves on having a very conservative security and governance model, which has gotten us into a lot of healthcare organizations. Very good with sort of keeping the data safe, harmonizing data. Another big draw is TriNetX is free to all healthcare organizations. The only time a healthcare organization ever has to sort of move money to TriNetX is if they want to download a row-level data set for grant-funded research. Any other time, any use of the platform, anything like that, any support, anything like that is all free of charge. We're also able to ingest data from any source. So I2B2's OMOPS, the big EHRs in Epic and Cerner, different databases like cohort. We can also bring in tumor registry data and genomics data as well. And we map all that data from all of our worldwide healthcare organizations to a common data model. So everything's harmonized within the platform. And you can search ICD-10 codes, you can search names. I'll show you all that on the platform as well. Just sort of our three pillars of TriNetX. So like I talked about at the beginning, we started just on the sponsored trials. It was the only feature with TriNetX, sort of making the ease of use for pharma to deliver opportunities to healthcare organizations. Collaboration, so you can actually partner with other healthcare organizations. For instance, we're in the process of creating a SUNY collaborative network. So all the SUNYs on the TriNetX platform can collaborate within the platform. Then local research, sort of what we're here for today. You're able to use the platform, run PI-initiated trials, local initiated trials, or just do retrospective research as well on either just the Buffalo data or our research network as a whole. Just a quick look at some of our industry sponsors that we work with as well. And then within the platform, on the bottom left, TriNetX Connect, that's sort of where we started with those clinical trials. Query Builder is what I'll be showing you today. We also have the ability to team up with our engineering and product teams. If you have your own AI or machine learning models, we're able to help train those on the TriNetX data. We've actually done a project with one of our pharma companies and Buffalo doing this bring your own model as well. We have an in-platform analytics suite, which I'll show you some of today. And then we also have, have a slide on this as well, but the ability to publish just from using TriNetX, so not having to take that data out, run third-party analytics. You can run the analytics in the platform, and people have been very successful publishing just off the data from the platform. Just to show some scope of how often the platform is used. This is a breakdown from January 2022 to January 2023, just on the number of queries run within our healthcare organizations. So broken down from North America, EMEA, APAC, and LATAM. We had upwards of 47,000 queries in January. I think in February and March, we broke 50,000 queries per month as well. And then like I was talking about research, so this is from the end of February. We've had 417 peer-reviewed publications from data on the platform. That's a combination of just using the platform and getting data downloads. But the vast majority of them actually come from publishing just from the platform. And then just wanted to quickly show you, so if you were to download those row-level data sets to use with third-party tools, this is just sort of a sample of the diagnosis CSV that would be included. So this patient ID to the left, it's a completely de-identified patient ID. It's completely even different than what Buffalo sends into us as their own synthetic ID. So there's absolutely no path back to patients or anything like that. Alrighty. So that was the quick PowerPoint. I'm going to jump into the platform right now, just so we can get things rolling. And like Alexis said, feel free to jump in with questions during the presentation, because it will be a lot of information in a short period of time. So feel free to interrupt whenever you have a question come up. All right, so this is the TriNetX platform. Some of you might not have seen it, some of you might have seen it already. This is actually the query we're going to run today, but I'm going to go through step by step with everything that's on here as well. So to start out, every time it'll actually be brought to a screen like this. So it'll be a new query, completely blank. And like I said before, you're able to run on the Buffalo network, our research network as a whole. There'll also be some other networks that are available to you. And those can all be changed right here with this little caret to select your network. I always like to say to name your studies, because if you can see on the right side here, every time you click count patients, a new query will be created. So I'm a bad example, but all the unnames gets a little busy if you're trying to look for something. So we're just going to name that here. You can also select the demographics you want to look at. So for this query, we're only going to look at patients over the age of 18. So you have that there. You can also select if you just want to see male or females. You can see the breakdown of the chart there. We're just going to go ahead and save that. And then in these must-have, cannot-have sides for the inclusion-exclusion criteria, it's just like using Google. So it uses predictive text. You can use synonyms. You don't need to know any coding whatsoever. So we're going to do a Crohn's and ulcerative colitis. So if we just start writing in Crohn's, you can see here we have the K50, and all you have to do is just click on it there. We're also going to add ulcerative colitis. One thing to note is that when you're running queries with the query builder, the must-have side will always start with and. If you want it to be an or scenario, you can just hover over and click on it there. For this, we don't care if it's Crohn's or UC. We're just going to click on that. For the cannot have side, we're going to say we don't want any of the patients in our cohort to ever take in Humira. So we're going to go that. And then you'll see from this tab here, it automatically maps to the generic as well. All brand name drugs will automatically map to the generic. So I'll have there. If you are looking for a specific brand name, not just the generic, you can hover over these, click on the filter here, and then click on the brand you want. You can also select the route of administration or strength if it's available there too.
Matt, we have a question from Adam.
Go ahead.
Hi, Matt. How are you? Thank you for doing this. I have a quick question with this and or feature. Can you create, like, so for example, if I want to look at patients with Crohn's disease and are being treated by a certain group of drugs, but each drug in that group is an or statement. Can you create a group that has ors between each drug?
Yep. Yeah. So you would actually just use this create group feature here.
Thank you.
So say if we just wanted that, you could add all the drugs here and have them all in or statements there. And you can have multiple groups per query as well. So
Thank you.
And then like I was showing with this filter also works for if you're querying for oncology data, you're able to get histology, tumor stage, and some behavior as well within this filter. It can also be used for labs. So for instance, if you're looking for COVID labs, if you clicked on this filter for the COVID tab, you would be able to select if you wanted to see positive or negative results as well. But we're also going to have, we don't want to see reactive protein level over 5. And you can see they're all sort of have the origin of the codes here. So these are all LOINC codes, but we're actually going to use this TriNetX curated code. You can see if we hover over it, this was actually curated by our informatics team. So it includes multiple LOINC codes, sort of make investigators' lives a little bit easier. So we're just going to click on that. I'm going to select our lab value to be greater than 5. And with this as well, you can click on show included LOINC codes. You can actually see the codes included within this as well. And then the last thing for this query, we're going to say that we don't want any of our patients to have an endoscopy within the past year. So we're just going to add that in there. And this is where we're going to use one of those groups. So we're going to create a new group. If you have multiple terms you want to add, you can click on add terms. And you can do, there'll be little checkboxes. We're just going to click and drag. It's as easy as that there. And for this, because we want it to be within a year, we're just going to do the added time constraint. If you have specific start and end dates, you can add those here, just like that. Because it's just 1 year, we can easily use the ruler bar here and just save that. Also in groups, you can have related groups. So say within a certain period of time after the endoscopy, they had to have some test or another procedure or something like that. You can use that with the related group button here as well. Adam, do you have another question?
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. Are you able to, are these all one visit records, or are you able to tell readmissions rates with this data? And
So
how would you?
Yeah, within the platform, you're not able to easily see readmission rates. You can figure it out if you do a lot of time constraints and sort of groups like that. But it's easily found out if you download the data because it will have the date stamps for it. You just don't have that ability to do it with inside the platform. It's only available in a download.
When you in the downloaded data set, would the patient ID that you showed us earlier be consistent?
Yeah, it'll be consistent throughout the whole data set. Yeah. Yep.
Got it. Thank you.
No worries. So this endoscopy we're going to have within the past year. And then we're just going to go ahead and click on count patients here. See if it'll, it was quicker today than it was yesterday. So you see we have 360,000 patients, 70 of the 76 healthcare organizations returned results for us. And we're going to take a look sort of in this cohort a little bit. This explore cohort tab gives us the ability to look sort of patient wise with it. So it'll give us a breakdown of demographics and also diagnosis, procedures, meds, and labs, and the percentage of patients within the cohort that actually have those codes as well. And you get these results pretty fast. Depends on internet sometimes, and then also when you're presenting it on video, it's a little bit slower. So you can see the diagnosis is here and how they're sort of configured. 53% of this cohort has some instance of a disease of the circulatory system. If you're looking for specifics, you can type them in the search bar. You can type the codes, or just like when you were doing Query Builder, just type something out. But you can also sort of just get more granular like this as well. So if we're looking at this, and then we have 5% of our patients within this cohort also have hypertensive chronic kidney disease. And then it gives you the number of patients within it as well. Procedures and medications are formatted exactly like this. Labs are a bit different. They're grouped in lab types here. So we have our metabolic panel, complete CBC. We go all the way to the bottom where all of our vitals that we have here as well. And then right above the vitals are the findings. So our findings, we have a number of healthcare organizations that take part in our natural language processing. So we're able to take unstructured notes and make them into a structured form with certain labs and things like that. So anything that is in this findings tab is brought in through natural language processing with some of our healthcare organizations. If there's any genomics data, it'll appear here in this genomics tab. It's a really small cohort of patients that we have bringing in genomics data. It gets more and more every year, but still rather small. Analyze criteria. This is sort of a hypothetical look at your cohort and the terms that are the most impactful to your query, and then the least impactful. So we're just going to go ahead and click our index there, and then run this. It'll create a funnel graph for us that we're able to look at. And this is a complete hypothetical, so anything you do within it doesn't change the original query that you run. So you're able to see here the breakdown of this. So you can see this is always a bad example because there's so many patients with it. But say if you were being limited on the amount of patients that you have, thinking you should maybe have more, and you thought maybe the Humira was a limiting factor, you click on hide and actually see the percentage of the amount of patients that it added to your cohort. You can easily just re-add that as well. The next sort of base analytic we have on the side here is rate of arrival. So this is something that would be run solely on the Buffalo network. It can be used for feasibility, recruitment. It uses 3 years of historical data and logistical regression to predict the following year. So the patients coming into your healthcare organization that directly meet the cohort that we created. So you can see 9 months ago, this is on the big research network, but there were 3,200 patients that came in. And then 7 months forward, it's projected that'll be 2,600 patients. So it gets a lot of use for feasibility, feasibility for grants and things like that as well. Just like Explore Cohort was sort of looking on the patient side, Summary Statistics looks at the data behind all of this. So if you were to download a data set, this can give you a little bit of a glimpse to that data before you get it. So you're able to see the length of the patient record. You actually see the number of facts that are included in this entire data set. And when you download a data set, you don't just get, say you have a time constraint, you don't just get the data for that time constraint, you get all of that patient's data from the point that you run it all the way back as well. So it is a really big amount of data. But you have length of patient record, fact distribution. Let's hide this quick. The number of facts, and then gives you those fact types that they have as well. So diagnosis, procedures, meds, labs, if there's any oncology or genomic data as well. And then also gives you sort of a quadrant breakdown of the patients within this. Within a data set, it gets a little bit more granular, but only on the level of the 8 or 9 census regions. And that's all we have permission to give through our expert determination for HIPAA. There are some ex-US healthcare organizations on the research network. I believe it's only 4 countries. So it's a really small percentage. These unknown regions are actually all within the US. They're just a large nationwide group of community hospitals. So we keep them in the unknown region there. One big factor. We like to always say, when you're running Query Builder, if you run into any problems, have any questions about the query you're running, maybe you think your patient count is being limited, or maybe it's way too big. We have this design assistance tab at the very bottom. You're actually able to click on this, just brings up a text box. And you can type your question into here, whether it be, can I have help creating this query? Do you know any other codes for so-and-so? This will actually send it directly to our clinical sciences team, and they'll get an answer back to you. It's normally within a day as well. If it's a more complex answer, so every time you hit submit question, it also shares the query you're running with them. So if it's a more complex answer, they'll actually create a new query for you and share it back with you. So you don't have to follow their step-by-step directions, but they'll still provide all those, and it creates an email thread so you can go back and forth with them. Like we were talking about collaboration earlier as well, within this study management tab, you're also able to share your studies with other members at Buffalo. So within this team tab, all the members that have access at Buffalo would show up here. When this goes, it'll just show everyone from TriNetX. But you're able to click on them and just click share study, and it'll share all the queries within your study with them. All the queries, as you can see here, are all date and time stamped, and then stamped by who ran the query as well. So if you are sharing with multiple people, you'll be able to see the work that everyone's done. Nothing gets overwritten, because every time you click count patients, a new query will pop up on the bar here. And it's a multi-step process to delete those as well. So you can't just accidentally do it. Yeah, it's a two-step process for that. Adam, go ahead.
Sorry, I just have a quick question. Are there any parameters in place to assess socioeconomic status within the database?
Yeah, so we don't have those right now. They're on the roadmap. We'll be going first into this network that we call Linked. Buffalo's actually signed up for it. So you guys will be one of the first healthcare organizations to have access to that data. It's just not in the platform yet.
Do you guys have an idea as to when you would get access, and or will there be like some sort of way for us to be notified?
Yeah, there'll be a big sort of alert sent out when it's available. Alerts are also always up here with this little tab. You see, I have one here. So it tells you when there's scheduled maintenance or things like that. New features come out. They have them there as well. But I believe it should be the first instance of it should be Q2 when it comes out. So starting next month through the beginning of summer. But it'll keep coming on in sort of gradual basis with more and more factors.
Thank you very much.
And before I jump into analytics, I just wanted to show, because I was up in this area anyways. So to the right of your name, it has a little notification tab here, but it also has this question mark. So it brings you to our help and training center as well. It has our training program, which would be a similar webinar to what I'm giving today. But they also have specific webinars for all of our analytics. So when you have advanced analytics here, gets into a lot more detail than I'm going to show today. And we also have ones for best practices in querying specific things such as infectious disease, specifically COVID, oncology, rare disease, global data. We have collaborative networks that are available to all our healthcare organizations as well. So you can have access to the US network, which you're on. We have an EMEA collaborative network, APAC and LATAM collaborative networks. Also within this is our FAQ section. So basically any question you have probably has been asked before. So we've created FAQs. You're able to just search easily by it. So say if you're interested in a data set and you wanted just to look at it here, you're able to get the data set, what's in the data set. So it'll actually show you, it also show you sensitive terms that are removed from data sets as well. gives you exclamations on different networks. So this TriNetX link network is the one that will first have that social determinants of health data. It also, within our link network, has claims data in it. So you're able to see a bit better longitudinal view of the patient. We have a claims vendor with that, and it also includes enhanced mortality data that might not be within your EHR within that. That mortality data, though, because Buffalo is part of the link network, is also given back. So you'll actually see that represented within the Buffalo network as well. You're able to see specifics on certain analytics, incidence and prevalence. I'm not going to go over that one today, but there's a good resource here. Again, treatment pathways, different things about data sets as well. So if you're interested in the data set dictionary behind it, you can download all of those here as well. Within this is also all of our security and governance paperwork, our expert determination, summary reports, and things like that are all located within this help center. So we're going to jump into analytics here. So we have these analytics available. We have the analyze and compare outcomes, compare cohorts, which is just looking at that explore cohort that I showed you earlier, just comparing between two. I think you should have competing risk available to you as well. If not, we can have that turned on. And then treatment pathways and incidence and prevalence. I'll show you two of these today. And then if you have any questions further, we can sort of set up other things and go into more detail on the analytics that we have here. I'm just going to log back into this. So first off, I'm going to show you the treatment pathways. So within treatment pathways, and this is why I also say it's always good to name all the queries you run. For all the analytics, you actually click and drag directly from the query bar that you are using. So we have just an IBD demo that we're looking at here. All analytics are also able to set time windows that you're looking for to see the characteristics. For this, we don't care about time window really, so we're looking at any time before. For this, once we click on run, we're able to again see all those demographics, diagnosis, procedures, meds, and labs. You're able to save any of these as well just by clicking on the star here. You can see we've saved the number of them that we're going to use for our treatments. And then we're able to look at treatments again, so it sort of breaks it down a bit more granular than the original characteristics. We're able to look at the time window afterwards. And again, clicking on run, it'll show you just procedures and medications. And again, you're able to select and save any of those. So we did here, number that we're going to look at, which then will all populate within our pathway section here. Let's see if we just go through and to select our treatments. If you did use the star to save any of them, they'll all be included here. So you can sort of click on what you'd like, or you can again, type in just like query builder and add anything one by one. You can also add certain groups. So if you're looking at maybe groups of medications, such as chemo meds, you can add groups. So you're not getting the individual medication as a treatment. Within lines of treatments, so the results for this, it actually show us 3 graphs here. The first graph is the top 10 treatments for your pathway. It only graphically shows the top 10, but if you're interested to see all of them, you can click on see pathways and it'll show you all of them that we have here. You're able to hover over and see the exact number of patients that follow that pathway. If you see these interlocking circles, it's a combination therapy that you can see here as well. To the right side is sort of a breakdown of the lines of treatments. I always like to say to just ignore adrenocorticosteroids because it's the #1 all the way across the board. But then you can see the difference between the 3 here. And then below we have our sunburst diagram. So another sort of view on the lines of treatments. You're actually able to hover over, see the percentage of patients that follow this line all the way out until you get to other. So anything it says other is just out of those top 10 treatments that you have. But you're actually able to also get this data if you're to click on export all here, you're actually able to export all the image data and the data behind those images in a CSV file. So you can have those as well. We also have time on treatment. So we're able to say, we just want to look at this, just click on it there. We scroll down and actually see the time on the treatment that they have for those as well. With all analytics, we'll also have this history tab here. So if you were to click on it, anytime you've run an analytic, and say if you wanted to go back, you ran it again, want to go back to something you run previously, you can actually just click and go right back onto it there. I'll hop over to this screen here to show the next analytic. This is for a different query, but it was created by our clinical sciences team. So it has a really good point in one of them that I'd like to show. This is looking at outcomes from taking warfarin and apixaban. So again, it all starts with clicking and dragging over your cohorts. Looking at all the characteristics that we have here. You can save your characteristics just like we did previously. And then with this compare outcomes analytic, you're also able to do propensity score matching. So all of those that we selected, Jamal just had a question is, are there demographic features for a self-identified race? So all of the demographic information we have is just what would be in the EHR. And it's just based off the, I believe it's the HL7 model. So it's only white, Black, Hispanic, Asian American, Pacific Islander. We don't have any way of sort of bringing in, if you're mixed race, it's just always whatever the first race is that they select there. Same with gender, it's only male or female as identified within their chart. And it's not necessarily sex at birth, it's whatever the sex currently is in their EHR. But you're able to select your covariance for propensity score here, and then run that for your propensity score matching. We see our propensity curves here, and also gives you the breakdown of the characteristics before and after matching from the ones that we selected. And then we're able to jump right into the outcomes we want to look at. So for this, we're doing a specific time window here. So we're going to do 1 day after the administration of warfarin and apixaban, up to 3 years for it. Just going to skip through the cohort here. And then you're able to select your outcomes. So again, just like any of the other ways of searching in TriNetX, you're able to add outcomes that you might have saved with the star here, or just adding them by their codes or their names. We're going to look at stroke. We're going to look at the measures of association for that, as well as a Kaplan-Meier analysis. We're going to look at major bleeding. This is where I always like to use this for, and say the clinical sciences team can be extremely helpful. Just the sheer number of codes that they have for major bleeding. They can definitely get the most out of your query. We're looking at measures of association again for that. Then we're just going to look at INR to show the distribution on this as well. So we just click on run. We're able to see our results here. Alexis, there's a question for you as well on the chat now.
So if you gain access to TriNetX, then you can use the platform, and you can do that by contacting our IHI office, which I will put the email link. It's Jonathan Blazier, who I think is here today. I think I saw his name pop up, but I'll put that in the chat.
And then so for outcomes, it just starts out by showing the propensity score matching and those characteristics again. Just scroll through those, and then it jumps right into our outcomes here. So for stroke, we have our measures of association here. with all the cohort stats, risk difference, risk ratio, and odds ratios. Again, with all these analytics, you're able to export them individually if you just say we're interested in this measure of association, or if you wanted to export all, those are all available there too. Has our Kaplan-Meier analysis here. Again, with the cohort stats, the long rank test, hazard ratio. We did major bleeding. We just did measure of association for that. And then our INR values to show the distribution curve that we have there. Jonathan put his email in there as well if you're interested in getting an account. All right, and then within the platform, if you are interested in those row level data sets to use third-party analytic tools outside the platform, it's as easy as hitting the request data set button. If for some reason it's sort of grayed out for you, it could be that there is a sensitive term within your query that you're not able to download a data set for. You'll also see that within analytics, if you're not able to run analytics, one of those sensitive terms could be in your query for that as well.
So there's a question from Dr. Hussam. If you have access to I2B2, can you automatically access TriNetX? And Jonathan, yes, thank you, because I wasn't sure about that. So yes, you can.
Yeah, so if you have an account to I2B2 and you don't have an account to TriNetX, all you have to do is send me an email. I'll set you up an account. But yeah, if you've already been approved to I2B2, there's no other process. And if you do have a UBIT, there's really no other process than contacting me to get access.
So if you're interested in the data sets, click on that. You just select the cohort you want and click request. If it's a one just from the Buffalo network, it would go to Alexis, Jonathan, their teams to approve or deny that request. If it's for the research network as a whole, it would still first go to the UB side. Again, they would approve, deny, and then send it over to myself at TriNetX. We have a terms of use form that has to be signed for all data sets that come out of the research network. So it's a quick signature from our side and then a signature from your side, and all of that gets released. It would be shown in the available data sets here. You can see here, you're actually able to download these data sets either directly to your computer or also if it's a larger data set and you have server access, you can download directly to a AWS server for that instance as well. Also available to do within the platform with IRB approval and everything like that. If you were to run this just on the Buffalo network, you'd actually be able to get a path back to the patient. So you can't do it directly within the platform. You use Honest Broker process, but to the right of the Count Patients tab, there's this Export Patient IDs button. Again, it would send alert to Alexis, her team, and Jonathan. You'd have to go through the IRB, make sure you have the IRB, go through whatever processes internally, but it would create the list of pseudo IDs that Buffalo sends to us, and then they will be able to crosswalk that back to the actual MRNs. So if you were interested in recruitment, chart review, anything like that, you would be able to do that through that function there. One other thing that was here as well. So within the study management tab, we already went through the teams that you can share. When you originally create your study, if you had to change anything for some reason, it can all be added here in the study properties. And if you were sharing with multiple people, maybe you wanted to add any documents to this, you can always add documents here as well. That can be shared with the group as a whole. Let's see here. I think that's it for everything. We'll also have this custom terms tab here. If it's not turned on for Buffalo yet, we can get that turned on. But it sort of makes it an easier way. If you're always querying for the same things into a large number of codes, we created this for COVID Because when it first started, every hospital had its own coding system for COVID before it sort of became all together. You're able to add all these codes. Use COVID as an example. All these different lab codes for COVID, you can add them all and just name it COVID labs. And then you could actually query for those within here as well. And they would be just like querying for any other structured data that you have. I think that pretty much wraps on my side. It's a ton of data in a really short amount of time. So if you have any questions, please feel free to get off mute and ask away. And then I'll just add, if you have any questions afterwards, you can always reach out to Alexis, and she can help answer them. She can also connect you with myself as well. So if you wanted to ask something specific about this, publishing, anything like that. One other thing I can show is we also have within our TriNetX website, if you go to our resources tab here, we actually have a publications tab. So you can see all the publications that we've done with TriNetX, that have been done with TriNetX. You can also see our publication guidelines that we have. If you're interested in publishing, also gives you how to cite TriNetX and so forth there as well.
All right, I'm not seeing any questions come up, but if anyone thinks of something while I'm giving my last few words here, just jump in over me. So Matt, thank you so much for all of this information. I am so glad that this session will be recorded because I will want to watch it again. There's so much to take in and absorb. I know that we will be emailing everyone who attended a survey. Please take some time to fill it out. It helps us to know if the materials that we're providing are useful to you and helps us to know what may be useful for you in the future so that we can get the best possible presenters and information out to our community. And if there are no other questions, Matt, thank you so much once again. Our next session is next month, April, I don't remember the date, Marshall, but that's
19th.
April 19th at 10 o'clock. That's with Roseanne Johnson, and she'll be talking about budgets. So that should be a great and useful session as well. I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Thank you again.
Thanks, everyone.